the 9th of May, 2026, Saturday morning. Common Buddhist text, guidance, and insight from the Buddha. Chapter 6, the path, the Buddhist path and its practice. Previously, we covered from the Theravada perspective and the Mahayana perspective. We are currently in the perspective of Vajrayana. Excuse me, I'm under the weather today, so I'm going to have a lot of clearing throats and so forth. But we're in the awakening mind, the bodhicitta. The bodhicitta, or citta, is the single most important concept in the Mahayana and Vajrayana tradition of Buddhism. It means the mind, the jit, oriented to attaining a perfectly awakened Buddha's awakening, the enlightenment, the bodhi, for the sake of benefiting others and for the mind of the bodhisattva at different stages of spiritual development. Entering the path is marked by what is called arousing the awakening mind. Understands as giving rise to the firm aspiration to reach awakening. In the sense of perfectly awakened Buddhahood, arihanta, for the sake of others. Beyond this, the awakening mind is a compassionate mental orientation that should be a source of engaged practice to move towards Buddhahood and to help others to do likewise. The definition of the awakening mind. Arousing the awakening mind is defined as giving birth to the wish for truly complete awakening for the sake of others. As it is said in the ornament of clear realization, arousing the awakening mind is the wish to achieve complete awakening for the sake of others. This can be cited in the Jewel Ornament of Liberation, page 134. Santi Deva on the benefits of the awakening mind. Engaging in the conduct for awakening, a bodhicharya avatara, is among the most famous literary classics of Buddhism. Authored by the great monk philosopher Santi Deva in the 8th century Common Era. It has kept inspiring the traditions of Buddhists ever since. The verse below from it is the first chapter, titled The Benefits of the Awakening Mind, are particularly well known and have been quoted in many later texts on arousing the awakening mind. This freedom and connection is very difficult to find. If I do not take advantage of this opportunity now to attain what can be accomplished by a human being, will I ever get it back again? Like a flash of lightning from among clouds on a dark night, illuminating everything for an instant. That is how the Buddha's might, a beneficial insight, ever occurred in this world. This is because wholesome thoughts are always feeble, while unwholesome ones are too strong and irresistible. Could they be overpowered by any wholesomeness other than the complete awakening of the mind? This is what the capable Lord Buddha, who has cultivated through many ages, has found it to be most beneficial. It can help as an immeasurable multitude of people to easily attain the highest state of bliss. If you wish to put down the 100 pains of existence, expel all pains of sentient beings, and also undergo much happiness on the path, then you should never forsake the awakening mind. As the awakening mind is born in those tormented ones captive in the prisons of samsara vata, from the very moment they will be called princes or princesses of the Tathagata and will be honored by worldly gods and human beings. You should firmly apprehend this that is known as the awakening mind, because it is like the best kind of gold making elixir. This impure body you have taken is transformed by it into the invaluably precious body of Buddha. As it is so valuable and has been well assayed by the sole leader of beings, Gautama Buddha, in this immeasurable wisdom, those who wish to avoid rebirth in samsara should firmly apprehend this precious awakening mind. Every other wholesome action is like the plantain tree. It yields fruit but once, then it dies away. The tree of awakening mind, however, brings fruit all the time. Rather than dying away, it multiplies. Even if you have committed the terrible misdeeds, once you put your trust in the awakening mind, as in the body guarded, you are instantly saved by the great danger of the falling to the lower realms. Why should you be heedless not to put their trust in it? It will surely consume the effects of all major wrongdoings in an instant, like of the all-consuming conflagration of the end of times. This can be cited in Engaging in Conduct for Awakening, Volume 1, verse 4 to 14. Types of awakening mind. After celebrating those benefits, Santi Deva proceeds to distinguish between two types of the awakening mind. In brief, the awakening mind is known as having two types: the awakening mind of aspiration and the awakening mind of engagement. The skillful should understand the distinction between the two, in the same way as the difference between wishing to go somewhere and actually being on the way. The awakening mind of aspiration while in samsara vata is very fruitful, but it does not yield continuous karmic benefits as the mind of engagement does. This can be cited in Engaging in Conduct for Awakening, Volume 1, verse 15 through 17. Types of awakening mind 2. Besides containing a very down-to-earth explanation on the above distinction, this passage introduces an even more fundamental classification of awakening mind into the relatives and ultimate types. The latter is born from direct insight into reality at a later stage in the path. When classified according to its nature, there are two types of awakening mind: relative and ultimate. Within relative awakening mind, there are two further subtypes: the mind of aspiration and the mind of engagement. As it is said in Engaging in Conduct for Awakening, the skillful should understand the distinction between the two in the same way as the difference between wishing to go somewhere and actually being on the way. If you want to go somewhere, like Lhasa, for example, first you have to make up your mind. I am going to Lhasa. Just like first you have to think, I am going to make all sentient beings attain the rank of complete Buddhahood. This is the mind of aspiration, which is like going to go somewhere. Then you arrange for the travel, provisions, pack horses, and other preparations for the actual journey to Lhasa, and finally really set out on the road. Similarly, in order to make all sentient beings attain the rank of complete Buddhahood, you decide to practice generosity, maintain ethical discipline, cultivate patience, make sustained effort, develop meditative absorption jhana, and train your mind in wisdom. Then you actually start practicing these 6 perfections. This is the mind of engagement, which is like actually being on the way. Both the mind of aspiration and the mind of engagement are relative awakening mind. Though training for a long time on the path of accumulation and connection, while relying on relative awakening, you finally enter the path of seeing, where you have direct realization of emptiness, knowledge without any conceptual elaboration. You understand the actual nature of all dharmas. That realization is the arising of the ultimate awakening mind. This can be cited from the words of my perfect teacher, page 354 to page 355. Taking the vow of aspiration. The following passage from the chapter 9 of the Jewel of Ornament of Liberation contains a short liturgy for taking the vow of awakening mind and beginning on the path to the 6 perfections of the Bodhisattva. The teacher should instruct the student in the following way. Meditate on loving kindness and compassion for a while. Think in whatever space expands. There are sentient beings. Where there are sentient beings, there are defilements. Wherever defilements, there are wrong actions. Wherever wrong actions, there is suffering. All those sentient beings suffering and pain have been my fathers and mothers in previous existence. All my fathers and mothers have been very kind to me. Now all my kind fathers and mothers are drowning in the ocean of samsara. They are tormented by an incredible amount of suffering. There is no one to protect them. How badly fatigued they are. How anguished. What could I do to make them happy? What could I do to free them from the suffering? Then meditate on the following thought. Precisely I am unable to teach them. In order to act for the benefit, I must attain the state of perfectly awakening Buddha, who has no more faults, who is complete with all good qualities, who is able to act for the sake of the entire world of sentient beings. Then the disciple should repeat 3 times to the teacher, all Buddhas abiding in the 10 directions, please listen to me. Teacher, please listen to me, named so-and-so. Now take this vow on the foundation of the wholesome derived in this and other lifetimes from generosity, ethical discipline, and meditation concentration I have performed. Ask others to perform or have rejoiced in, just as the Tathagatas, the perfectly awakened Buddhas, Arihats, the Blessed One, the Great One's perfections to their paramis, who are now abiding in the highest stages of the path, had first in the beginning aroused the mindset on great unsurpassed, fully perfect awakening in the same way. I am named so-and-so. From now on, until I reach the heart of awakening, arouse the mindset, great, unsurpassed, fully awakening, in order to deliver sentient beings who have now been delivered to the other shore, to liberate beings who have not been liberated, to relieve all those who have been relieved, to lead to Nibbita those who have not been led to Nibbita. This can be cited in the Jewel Ornament of Liberation, page 166 to 168. Thoroughly apprehending awakening mind. Such liturgies as above may have been inspired by classical Indian literary examples such as the one quoted below. Another set of famous verses from Engaging in Conduct for Awakening on the heroic dedication of a person on the path to perfection. Through the wholesome actions I have amassed, may all the suffering of every sentient being be dispelled. As long as wandering beings are not yet recovered from their sickness, may I be their medicine, their doctor, and their nursing attendant. Showering on them a rain of food and drink, may I eliminate the pain of hunger and thirst. And in the eons of famine, may I turn into the food and drink. May I turn into the inexhaustible treasure for all those who are poor and destitute. And may I be readily available to them as all kinds of articles and necessities. In order to help all sentient beings, may I offer them without reservation my body, my possessions, and the fruition of my wholesome deeds in the past, the present, and also in the future. Giving up all, I will eventually go to Nipita. My mind will be passed beyond sorrow. If everything needs to be given up, the best is to give it all for sentient beings. I have already offered this body to the mercy of the all-embodied beings. Let them kill it, abuse it, and torture it as they please. Though they may use my body as a plaything, an object of contempt and ridicule, why should I care about it when I have already given it away? Let them do to it whatever they wish, as long as it does not cause any harm. Whenever I am just looked upon by beings, may they never be left without benefit. Whether they are angry with me, whether they have faith in me, may it always be the source of fulfillment of their wishes. Whosoever speaks badly of me, whosoever does me any harm, whosoever disparages me, let them have the good fortune to reach awakening. May I be in the shelter for the homeless, a guide for those set out on the path. May I become a raft, a boat, a bridge for those wishing to cross over. May I become an island for those who seek me, a bed for those who wish to take rest. And may I become a servant to all those embodied beings who need to be served. May I become a wish-fulfilling jewel, a cornucopia, a wonderful working spell, a panacea, a wishing tree, and a cow of plenty for embodied beings, just like the earth and other elements of nature, just like space. May I always be the source of sustenance for many kinds of countless sentient beings. May I thus become the source of life in every way, in all realms of sentient beings, whether space pervades, wherever space pervades, until they all pass into Nipita. This can be cited in Engaging in Conduct for Awakening, Volume 3, verse 7 through 22. 3 degrees of courage. This passage distinguishes 3 types of the awakening mind based on courage, which refers to the degree of a great being's determination to help sentient beings. The most courageous types turn out to be the one who wants to be the last to attain Arihatship. There are 3 types of awakening mind according to the degrees of one's spiritual courage. 1. A king first wants to overcome his rivals, lead his armies to victory, and make himself king. Then only does he wish to take care of his subjects Similarly, someone arouses the royal type of awakening mind first wants to attain the status of Buddhahood himself. And only does he wish to lead all sentient beings on the stage of a Buddha. Second, a ferryman wants to reach the other shore together with all the people and passengers boarding the boat with him. Likewise, someone rousing the awakening mind of the ferryman wants to attain the rank of complete Buddhahood together with all sentient beings. Third, shepherds drive their flock and sheep in front of them, first making sure that they find enough grass and water and they are not threatened by wolves and other predators. Following after them, they themselves walk behind. In the same way, those arousing the awakening mind of a shepherd first want to lead all sentient beings on the three realms to the status of Buddhahood. Then only do they wish to become Buddhas themselves. Among those three types, the first, royal type, called the awakening mind of high aspiration, is the least courageous. The second type, the ferryman type, called the awakening mind of excellent knowledge, is immoderately courageous. It is said to be the way of someone like the noble Maitreya arouse his awakening mind. The third type, the shepherd's type, called incomparable awakening mind, is the most courageous of all. It is said to be the way someone like the noble Manisuri arose the awakening mind. This can be cited in the words of my perfect teacher, page 352 to page 353. We will leave off there today on chapter 6 from the perspective of Vajrayana traditions on the Buddhist path and practice. We will pick up graded stages of the path on the next one. Common Buddhist texts, guidance, and insight from the Buddha. Chief Editor, Dr. Mahadhamma Kosachan.